Hello friends, and welcome to my channel. My name is Kevin, and I am the Nontraditional Catholic. This video will serve as an introduction to my channel, an introduction to me, and why I am starting this channel. So, my name is Kevin, and I grew up in New Jersey, in a town called Pequannock, which is a little bit outside of New York City. And I grew up attending an FSSP traditional Latin Mass chapel called Our Lady of Fatima Chapel, which was founded in part by my grandparents. Let's go to that chapel's website so you can just get an idea of what it looks like. But here it is. So it is a traditional Latin Mass, so you can kind of tell by the altar that it is an FSSP chapel. FSSP is a Latin acronym that stands for the Priestly Fraternity of St. Peter, for those of you who don't know. Similar to the SSPX, and actually an offshoot of the SSPX, but one that's in line with Rome. The FSSP is one of the largest Latin Mass fraternities in the world. I attended school in the basement of Our Lady of Fatima Chapel at a school called Colby Immaculata. You can click on this link up here to go to the Colby Immaculata website, but you can see that it is a traditional Latin Mass affiliated school. So religion plays a big part of the school. There's Mass every morning. First thing that you do every day is Mass. You do confession sometimes. So I'd wind up going to Mass 6 days a week, Monday through Friday, and then Sunday as well. And then sometimes I'd go to confession on Saturdays too. So I'd be at that chapel every day. So it was a big part of my life. I was an altar boy at the traditional Latin Mass. I achieved the rank of MC, which is the highest rank at a traditional high Mass. I also served at low Masses as well. And religion was a big part of my life. Now, you'll notice that everything that I've said so far has been in the past tense. Religion was. I deconstructed pretty much entirely in college. So I've been out of college for almost 5 years now. But I deconstructed during my 4 years of college. Why? Why did I deconstruct? So believe it or not, it started with gay marriage. I had a very close friend come out as gay. And up until that point, I never thought about it too much. I understood that the church had good reasons, or what I perceived as good reasons, for teaching that gay marriage was not licit. But when one of my friends came out, I decided to really look into it and dive into it and make sure that I understood why it was that the church taught what they taught. So when I found out that it all hinged upon teleology, that sex has two teloi, procreation and unity, I just found that I didn't believe that. I didn't think that teloi existed. So I have a degree in chemical engineering. I am very science-minded. I try not to be one-minded when it comes to scientists, and I do study philosophy as much as I can on the side. But I just realized that I just don't believe in teleology. And it turns out that I'm not alone in that. It seems as if science, ever since the Enlightenment, has really been moving away from teleology. Even in biology, which is where like teleology kind of has some, some hold still. But without teleology, there's really no reason for gay marriage to be wrong. And the same applies to like premarital sex, living together before marriage, anything like that. Really isn't wrong if you don't believe in teleology. My disbelief in teleology quickly led to a disbelief in a lot of other Aristotelian ideas, like the idea of like essences and forms. So if you drop your belief in essences and forms or hylomorphism, quickly you kind of have to drop your belief in transubstantiation. So I lost my belief in transubstantiation, and then I very quickly devolved from a traditional Latin Mass Catholic to being kind of Catholic, kind of not Catholic, to being merely Christian, to being deist. And now today, I think I'm, the official thing is agnostic, I suppose, but if you put a gun to my head and you said, do you really think that there is a God? I'd say no, I don't think that there is. But I obviously can't prove it, so I guess I am an agnostic in that sense. I never shared any of this with my parents, and I still lived at home in college. And then when I graduated from college, I got a job that was going to move me out to Chicago, 700 miles away and like a time zone different. I had been dating my girlfriend at the time for 5 years, and I told my parents, hey, I'm not religious anymore, and I'm moving out with my girlfriend. That was a little bit too much for my parents. They reacted pretty poorly, and I suppose understandably so. I didn't tell them that I was not religious, and then I dropped 2 bombs on them at the same time. 1, I'm not religious. 2, I'm going to be living in sin. And just to put this into broader context, I have an older brother, and then I have a bunch of older cousins as well, and none of them rocked the boat in the slightest. So I was like the first kid in my extended family to like not be religious. So it was a very big deal. So my parents reacted quite poorly, and I kind of allowed myself to be guilted into marrying my girlfriend. We had a 3.5 month engagement. We did not buy rings. The wedding ceremony was 10 minutes. We did not wear suits or anything like, or like no wedding dress, nothing like that. We got married in a 10-minute legal ceremony, but it was in the church that my grandparents founded. And we did that pretty much because I didn't want to rock the boat, but I realized that it was too late. When everybody found out that we had a 3.5 month engagement, everybody asked, "Oh, is she pregnant?" She wasn't pregnant. She's never been pregnant. We still don't have kids, and we've been married for a while. That put understandably, that put a pretty bad taste in my mouth, and I decided to not step foot in the Catholic Church again. I do like to tell myself that this is a principled stance based on the fact that the church doesn't allow for gay marriages. However, I'd be lying if I didn't admit that at least part of this is due to the really bad experience that I had with my own wedding. So, all of this to say, I'm pretty not Catholic. So why am I calling this channel the Non-Traditional Catholic? Well, a big part of it has to do with the fact that, by some definitions at least, I am still Catholic. I was baptized, and I've never been excommunicated, and I never wrote that official letter requesting that my name be struck from the Diocese of Paterson, New Jersey. So because I haven't been excommunicated, I haven't written the letter to remove myself, my name is still on the books, and by definition, I'm still a Catholic. Now, I'm not a practicing Catholic for sure, but maybe I am still Catholic. The Non-Traditional Catholic moniker is a little bit of a nod to Jewish culture. It's not strange for there to be an atheist Jew, but it is strange for there to be a Catholic who is an atheist. I think that's due in large part to the fact that Judaism is not just a religion, it's probably primarily a culture and then secondarily a religion. I think it would be really cool if Catholicism did the same thing. I grew up traditionalist Catholic. That I have more in similar with like the Amish. I did not grow up Amish, not even close. But I have more similarities between like evangelicals and stuff like that than I do with like normal people who grew up in New Jersey. And so I kind of feel alienated in as much as I grew up in this culture to which I can no longer lay a claim. I wish I could lay a claim to that culture. And nobody's ever going to be able to do that if nobody speaks up and tries to argue that Catholicism is more than just a religion. It's also a culture. I can't change my culture. I can't change the way that I grew up. But it sure would be cool if I could kind of reclaim as much of that as I could. So that's another aim of this channel. And that's also the reason why I chose the name The Non-Traditional Catholic. Why now, though? Why am I making this channel now, of all times? Well, there's a bunch of different reasons. One of the reasons is because I've been noticing online a huge growth in the traditional Latin Mass communities. At least online, because obviously I haven't set foot in traditional Latin Mass for many years. But there seems to be a huge growth in traditional Catholicism, especially since the pandemic. Here's an article from Crisis Magazine about the growth of the Latin Mass. They conducted a survey, and the results are pretty astounding. From January 2019 until June 2021, which is interesting as much as it's pre-pandemic to post-pandemic, the number of parishes offering the traditional Latin Mass increased by 27%. Attendance at traditional Latin Masses went up by 34%. So that is to say, more churches are offering traditional Latin Masses, and those traditional Latin Masses are getting more and more popular at the churches that are offering them. Those two things combined demonstrate a 71% increase. That's getting close to doubling the amount of people who were weekly attending traditional Latin Masses since January 2019. That's not that long ago. So, at a time when general Mass attendance is decreasing, attendance at the traditional Latin Mass is dramatically increasing, according to Crisis Magazine. That's astounding. So because of this, I think that the world probably needs voices to speak up about the things that aren't so good about the traditional Latin Mass. And so hopefully that's what this channel can be, just kind of like a voice to the contrary. I'd be lying, though, if I said that that was the main reason for this channel. The biggest reason is personal accountability. I have conversations about religion and philosophy pretty frequently. However, the only conversations that I have in real life are conversations that I have like with my dad. My dad is still like a staunch traditionalist Catholic. And we have conversations like pretty frequently about teleology and Mariology and nominalism and all these things. But besides my dad, I really don't have many conversations like over the phone or over video call or anything or in real life, you know. Most of my conversations that I'm having are either online, like on Reddit, or I will call like organizations like Catholic Answers. So when I talk to my dad, he'll often tell me to call Catholic Answers, and I will. But so I've spoken with Trent Horn, Cy Kellett, Jimmy Aiken, Bishop Robert Barron one time. But the way that these shows work, and I understand why this is, but you call, you ask your question, they put you on mute, they answer the question, they move on. There's no back and forth. So when you disagree with point number 1, but then they go on to make points 4, 5, 6, and 7, you know, it's not much of a conversation. So my dad is right in as much as, like, you know, that's the case. So part of this channel is a way for me to force myself to have more conversations. So I hope that the name of the non-traditional Catholic spurs Catholics, in particular traditional Catholics, or at least people who aren't traditional but are like traditional minded, if that makes sense, to engage with me, revert me, you know, convert me back to Catholicism. I want to make sure that the decision that I made to leave the Catholic Church was the right one. Right now, I think it is. I think that I have very good reasons for leaving the Catholic Church. But people disagree with me vehemently, and I want to make sure that I'm right. And the way that I do that is by having conversations, maybe with you. So leave a comment. If you want to talk to me, I would love to talk to you. We could put it up on the channel, or we could make it private. I don't intend on this channel being a money-making channel. Really, this is just a way for me to speak with other like-minded people. And by like-minded, I don't mean other ex-traditionalist Catholics or even ex-Catholics. I just mean people who are interested in the philosophy of religion. I want to talk to you, and I want to make sure that I believe the right thing, because the stakes they seem pretty high. So with that, thank you so much for checking out my channel. I'd love to talk to you. Leave a note in the comments. Shoot me an email at nontraditionalcatholic@gmail.com, and we'll talk more soon. All right, thanks.